You meet this really amazing person. Everything works out. It's like a match made in heaven. You guys get to know each other and you trust them. You develop a really intimate relationship with them. And then only later you find out, like, all this while, you have been played. They lied to you, they manipulated you, they played all these stupid games with you. And now you are the fool. And at this moment, it's not like you're blaming the other person. It's like you are sitting there, you're blaming yourself. You're telling yourself, like, idiot, how could you do this? How could you not see the red flags? How could you not see the games that this other person was playing all along? You were dumb, you were blind, you were love struck, you were head over heels for that person. It's like your brain just vanished and you're just emotionally controlled at that moment. And it's like you go down this route of self pity. You're constantly blaming yourself, constantly punishing yourself. Now you develop trust issues. You cannot love anybody the same again. And now it takes a long time for you to, just to overcome this. And the next relationship that you enter, you're kind of expecting it in the back of your mind for the same thing to happen over and over and over again. And in a way, if you're expecting that, it comes true. Eventually, the next relationship will also play out in a similar way. Now, the reason for this, all right, it may be the other person, but the true core reason behind this is you. It would be like, what the hell did this guy just utter out of his mouth? Is he nuts? For me being played, how am I the reason? It's actually you. If I'm being 100% honest, you are the reason why the other person has played with you. It's because you allowed them to play with you. Because most relationships, really start off, it's always this one person has more attraction towards the other than the latter, all right? It's like if you are, dating a girl, one person is always going to love the other person more than the other person, all right? I know it sounds kind of weird, but this is truth. And moreover, it's like in love, you kind of don't set boundaries. And that is where the problem arises. It's like you are willing to compromise your self esteem, your self confidence, your ego, and not even ego in a way, it can go both ways, it can go sideways. But usually you are willing to compromise on certain things which are really, beneficial for you. You're willing to compromise your character. You're willing to compromise and let things slide. It doesn't really start off, with this huge shebang in the beginning. It starts off really slow. Every relationship that turned out to be pretty toxic, it started out pretty slow. And let's say, for example, if you have been in a relationship where your partner is really abusive, she or he hasn't really, punched you in the face in the first date. No. It usually started with small signs of aggression, small signs of humiliation at the beginning. And you were too emotional. It's like your brain wasn't really functioning. It's like your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that is actually able to make solid decisions, that is responsible to make logical, solid decisions, was kind of weak. Your emotional system, your limbic system was kind of taking over. And now you're just reacting emotionally. It's like when the other person made some really mean comments about you, your family members, and certain things that really provoked you, you kept quiet. And this elevated the aggravation. Like they saw, like, okay, I somewhat touched that line, that boundary. This person has not called me out. I will do more. And you're just willingly allowed them to come and play games with you. First time, anybody plays with you, anybody, plays emotional, manipulative games, anybody plays some weird pranks and stuff, you allowed it. You did not tell them, you did not speak up saying that, no, this is not right. I do not allow this. I do not let this bullshit slide. You have not said that, all right? And now things really built up. Like the other person built up momentum, made it a habit, made it a practice to slowly increase the volume or raise the bar each time they go and do something that triggers the living shit out of you, that, emotionally plays with you, physically plays with you. All right? It's like they're just raising the bar and seeing if you react. and you don't react. You just let things slide. What do you think is going to happen? Like, I'm not here, just pushing all of this onto your face and making you feel all these emotions, but hear me out, all right? Because in my life, even I have been played in relationships, and it's the same mistake which I made. I did not, address situations. I was not setting boundaries. I wasn't being clear that you're doing all these things which is not aligning with what I am. You're playing these games, and I allowed it in the beginning, and that is why in the end it just ended with a shebang. All right, it's like a nuclear explosion, and in a way, deep down inside, you know that some shit is about to come up, but your emotional brain, your emotional part of your heart is kind of like, no, it's love. Let me just allow things to slide. I mean, in a way, love should be healthy. All right? I'm not telling you to throw away love and just go the stoic alpha male bullshit. Oh yeah, the black pill, red pill community. No, I mean, that is really messed up. What I'm saying here is love is good, but it should not come at the cost of your mental peace. It should not come at the cost of your physical well-being, your mental well-being, and even your character. It should not really destroy you as a person. And in a way, when you let things slide like this, at the beginning, if you don't address the red flags, if you don't address these situations that the other person is putting you in, if you don't address the negative comments, the humiliating behavior, the weird games and tactics, most of the time it's just games and tactics. It's not really humiliation. It's not abuse. It's just games. When you don't address this, when you don't set clear boundaries, and if you're not strict, all right, and you must be a person with character. You must respect yourself. And what you're doing here by not addressing these games is you are not respecting yourself. You're putting your own self-respect down. Why do you want to do that? And when you don't respect yourself and you're willing to put your self-respect down for the sake of pleasure, or sometimes this thing called love, which is not really love, it's kind of fake love. Guess what? They will not respect you. It's really, it kind of makes sense. Like when I say it, I know, like deep down inside, what I'm saying right now actually makes sense. But the reason why we're afraid of setting boundaries is because we have the fear of losing this relationship. We have the fear of the not being loved by anyone else. It's like you fear being alone more than you embrace love. It's like we have this fear of failing than the happiness of success. Like, I know it sounds really weird, but you have the fear of losing someone. You have the fear of being alone, and you're willing to compromise, and you're willing to do anything that just to not feel lonely, just to not be alone, just to not be left out of love. I want to feel this, and you're afraid that you'll never find love ever again. You're motivated more by fear than love. The fear of losing this person, the fear of ending up being alone, pushes you more. And you're willing to compromise every aspect of your life. You're willing to take the games, the stupid tactics, the manipulative strategies, even though you know deep down inside things are not really working out. You're willing to take humiliation. You're willing to take abuse. And this really, messes you up. So that is why you have to set boundaries. Immediately, as soon as you notice things, you set boundaries. This actually will kind of, shock them, like, oh, this is not another person. This person respects himself. This person respects themselves. This person respects this relationship, and this person will not let things slide. And in a way, if the other person figures out like you have this fear of losing them, and if they are a narcissist, psychopath, sociopath, or really good manipulator, they are going to use this against you. And at that point, if they're really smart and know how to manipulate you, if they identify that you're scared of losing them, they can do anything. They will just play the most irrational games and really mess up your life. And it's really better to set the boundaries before than reaping things in the end. Because at the beginning, of course, it's going to be hard to set boundaries and say, hey, you did this mistake. But eventually, this will save you from so much pain, trauma, and stuff. Don't be afraid of spoiling the relationship dynamics in the first initial stages, but If you don't address situations as soon as possible, you will end up in a really bad place. And how many relationships do you want to jump into? Or how many toxic partners do you want to have? Jumping from one after another. And how many times do you want to get your heart broken, heart shattered? How many times do you want to dwell in pain? There must be an end. And it all starts with you. So hope that helps. Just address things at the beginning. Hope that helps. And hope you find an amazing relationship, and you never have to face, you never have to feel any of this same bullshit trauma that comes from you not setting up boundaries ever again. Thanks for watching.